Hey guys, welcome to this session by K21 Academy. Today we are going to discuss about what are microservices. Generally, large applications are broken down into smaller services called microservices. So they can also be seen as smaller processes which can communicate with each other over a network to fulfill one particular goal, right? Now let us walk through an example. So let us say an online shopping service can be broken down into smaller services like account service, product catalog, cart server, and order server. So microservices architecture is very popular because it offers certain advantages like some applications become easier to maintain when they are broken down into smaller services, right? Whenever it is required, modifications can be brought into a single service without worrying about the dependencies of the other services. So another benefit is that when one service goes down, then it does not have a huge impact on the whole application. Also guys, before moving on to this session, please subscribe to our channel so that you will never miss an update on our upcoming videos. Now let us take a quick glance at the agenda. Firstly, we will start with what are microservices. Post that, we will try to understand about microservices architecture, and then we will see the microservices design. Post that, we will be seeing the relationship between application and database. And then we will see how to use an API gateway. And then we will also discuss about service discovery and service registry. And then finally, we will be discussing about the deployment strategy. So we have taken a clip from one of our certification training program on Docker and Certified Kubernetes Administrator, which is CKA. And in this clip, our expert will talk about what are microservices.
So everyone is using microservices, okay? Everyone. And in this lockdown era with Corona, everyone is crazy about Netflix. People are shopping on Amazon, Myntra, any website you say these days, or you're playing games, any games which are running like Pokemon Go, any type of application you can talk about. I would say it's working on microservices, okay? And Netflix was one of the biggest or earliest adopters of microservices, and everything you see over there is running in containers. So now I think you people can correlate how exactly it works, right? It's so beautiful. If you open up and it gives you what screen you are seeing, I am not seeing the same screen. It prepares the screen, or it prepares the complete page according to how Mamta wants to use it, right? First time everyone is getting the same page. From next time onwards, if I have seen a web series related to history, next time it will give me a very similar type of option because it understands my taste. I understand machine learning is there behind it, but everything is running in containers. Let it be a machine learning application, let it be Netflix application which is serving the video, let it be a application which is saving your reviews over there. So lot of microservices are running to make that complete Netflix type of application, right? So I'll just quote an example. Like, for example, I want to buy a blue shirt, okay? I want to buy a blue Alan Solly shirt, and I go to Amazon.com and I look for the blue Alan Solly shirt and find it. And I just want to check the customer review over there. Then if I scroll down, I don't see any stars over there, no rating is there. So I just scroll down and I verify, I don't see any customer review. So what I estimate, I judge that, okay, maybe people have bought this shirt and that they have not reviewed it, okay? I add that to the cart and I just don't buy it that day. I'm busy with some other work and I don't buy it that way. Next day, I think, okay, let me pay and buy that shirt. And I again go and just check the product description, thinking if I have missed out anything. So if I click on that, and today I see there are 30 customer reviews. How is that possible? Yesterday, there was not even a single customer review, and today there are 30 customer reviews. It can be possible because when the complete web page for the blue shirt came into picture, that time a single small service of customer review didn't respond on time. And because it didn't respond on time, it didn't say page 404. Rather, what it did, I mentioned some time back, when we are talking about containers and containers are born to die, we don't want to build an application thinking that it will never go down. We think our mentality or our understanding or our thought of building an application should be that we would build an application which can digest any such failures, and we understand if something is failing, how to handle that. So our focus would be to handle disaster recovery, to handle if we are unable to not scale up that quick, or if something is not working, how to handle that. So how they handle this customer review not working, they would not show up that customer review section over there. Rather, they would say, whoever saw this Alan Solly shirt also saw this Van Heusen's shirt, also saw this H&M shirt, any other brand they would say, or they would show whoever saw this blue shirt also looked into other blue shirts. You want to look into other blue shirts or other Alan Solly shirts. They give something apart from that. And you don't realize, I don't realize the first day that the customer review is not there. And next day when I go, I think, okay, how come 30 customer reviews? It is possible because we are in the microservices era. If something is not working, that is being replaced by something else which is working, and that makes sense on that page. Okay, I'm not upset that it didn't show me customer review. It gave me many more options. It showed me much more options. Maybe I was just looking for Alan Solly shirt, and later I realized some other brand is much more better than that, right? So people don't get upset about it, and they digest that error. You don't even realize, being a normal Amazon user, you would never realize that page not loading type of thing or page not found type of thing, errors will not be there. So in such cases, whenever you are coming to the landing pages of such applications, whenever you are making any application which has multiple logics behind it, billing logic, payment logic, customer review type of logic, scanning type of logic for anything, or have a lot of other logics, we are in the era in which we have to understand where to draw the line for each mini type of application and say, now it is self-sufficient enough to work and it is not dependent on any other any other services. Okay, so that is called as microservice. Like I'll just go down to this. So we saw the monolithic way of architecture, and this is the microservices architecture. In this, passenger management is having its own hexagonal block. It will open up its APIs. You can call, if passenger web UI wants to talk to passenger management, a single call will go. I am least bothered. It is sitting on the same machine. It is sitting on a different server. It would be completely different. So this is a microservice running in a container. This is a microservice running in a container. When you scan as a passenger and there is a driver management happening, there is a trip management happening for me, then just a call from the passenger's web UI goes and it shows up this page. And we don't realize this is a separate page or separate service serving us, right? Because we think this is a complete set of application altogether. So here, trip management, driver management, payment, billing, name anything which is a logical block, that is like a microservice for us. Okay, so all billing things, whether you are purchasing, you're booking a corporate cab, you're booking a cab for an individual, whether you're booking a small cab, whether you're booking a big cab, billing remains the same, right? So everyone will just call the API after the trip ends, and this logic is no more associated with any other blocks. It can standalone work. If I make any changes, like instead of Stripe, I say I would be integrating with PayPal, then in that point in time, I would not have to deploy all these things and check whether my PayPal payment is working or not, because I know what sort of call the trip management will make, and I'll just make that dummy call and I'll just test if my integration with PayPal is working or not. Okay, so this is how we build up microservices, and why we are talking about microservices in Docker or Kubernetes class. That is one question, right? We are talking about microservices in Docker Kubernetes class because when these applications are small enough and you run them in virtual machines, they don't utilize that much of resources. Your rest of the machine is waste. The resources are wasting on that. So when they are small, you build small, you deploy small, you test small, then you bring up small in smaller set of blocks, right? So we would be deploying them in containers so that we have better your resource utilization, the deployment is quicker, the testing is quicker. We would see what all advantages container as a technology brings to us, right? So if we are designing microservices, we will think that we would have separate logic separated completely. The front end logic is also broken into multiple things. I had in the previous one, I didn't had a separate web UI for passenger and the driver. Right now the APIs have been different, and whoever wants to log in, they have a different logic altogether. If I'm implementing some changes for the passengers, I did not test the driver page, because here there is lot of changes which happens, then it is only affecting this, and a call going from these microservices to other microservices we should be bothered about. We would not sit and test everything. So that's the reason here we would be discussing how to open up these APIs so that the other service can talk to us, and how to make them sit in different servers, yet we should not have the adverse effect or a bad effect that they are unable to communicate, right? So we would see how does the communication would be set up, how we would digest the latency of the packet, how we would implement retries into picture. A lot of things are there which helps us design this microservices in a way so that we can make it as a robust architecture. And something is failing, then also we are not failing completely. We are still able to serve the traffic, and we are not saying that it's completely down. So we don't believe in going down completely. Rather, we believe if some things here and there are breaking, how to make that up and how to serve the traffic at any point in time. Okay. So if you see, now we would be deploying things in containers. So trip management would be running as a Docker container. And if I want to scale the trip management, because when a lot of trips are happening, then I want to scale the trip management, I can individually scale one service, and I can put a load balancer in front of it so that it can balance the load across multiple replicas of trip management. And when we are doing trip management, obviously there should be a database associated with it. I would have individual databases attached to it. Okay, so just don't think if it is too much for you, hold on, don't get overwhelmed, don't get anxious about it. Like Mamta is speaking so many terminologies, we would have separate databases, how it will work. We will make everything work. We will do the things in the lab, and we will see everything in practical. Today we are just doing the theory part of it, and we have 7 more weeks to go or 8 more weeks to go, in which we'll make them work, and we will deploy applications, and we will have separate databases so that they can talk to each other. And you will have a question, when they were sitting together, then they were not having a good database. Now when they are sitting apart, how can you guarantee they would work together, right? Then better databases are there, distributed databases are there, and they make everything work together. You feel it's a single database, but at the back end it's completely distributed, and we can handle the synchronization and all that stuff and make them better, work better, right? So lot of things we would be discussing about. We would be discussing about how the application will have their individual databases, how we have a gateway type of service wherein we can route packets to different services. I'm just running through these slides. These are just keywords which we would be discussing. Don't go through the text. Rather, we would be, when we would be implementing these stuffs, I'll touch through each of the points and I'll tell what is an API gateway. Now understand, if I have to route my packet to multiple services, like I'm serving multiple stuffs, right? You are having Amazon.com, but you have Amazon.com/Black Friday sale, right? Then how does it serve that? So we would have an API gateway which has the intelligence to route the packet by opening the packet and seeing where exactly it has to get routed. We would see that. And when we are running things in container and we don't have persistent memory, when we don't have persistent IP addresses, we would talk about how to discover them, where they are running, what is the present IP address. That becomes a bigger challenge. That point in time, we would be talking about service discovery. And we have to discover the service. We have different ways of discovering the service. We would be running through them as well when we do Kubernetes. And if we are trying to discover, there should be a database which has to keep a note what is running where and what is the present IP address. Then in that case, we would be talking about registry, where we would be maintaining the complete data, because I'm not running one application and having one IP address now. I am running into different blocks. I have 10 blocks instead of one, and everyone has an IP address, and that IP address is not static. So I will have to maintain a database, which is like a registry, in which you would say what is running where. Netflix donated a open source code called as Eureka, with which it manages all the internet working across microservices. And we would be dealing with etcd, which is a part of Kubernetes, and we would be deploying these and learning how to work with them. Okay, so we would be doing these stuffs, and we would be talking about deployment strategies in which we would be deploying them in containers. So we would be deploying virtual machines and we would be deploying these applications in containers using container images, and we would be reaching those services. So we would be choosing the most popular way of deploying microservices, which is container pattern, and we would be talking about how do we deploy these containers. Okay, so microservices, when we are saying, example, the Ola type of service, any cab booking service, Uber type of service, Netflix, those are example of microservices. And when you say microservice, as we showed that the driver management is a microservice, the billing is a microservice, the payment collection is a microservice, the trip management is a microservice. That itself is an example of microservice.
So we have put down everything about the certification, including the basic concepts that one should know everything like microservices and Docker, networking, storage and app stack in Docker, Kubernetes architecture and installation, security, troubleshooting and high availability, networking, deploying, application stack, and advanced networking. In this 12-week roadmap, we take you from basics to advanced level along with the tips and resources for clearing the certification exam. We also have a separate team working for CV preparation and on-job support. So if you want to become Docker and certified Kubernetes administrator and want to learn right from basics to expert level, then we have a comprehensive step-by-step training for you that includes hands-on labs, including exam preparation, and the most important part, 1 year on-job support. If you are interested in this program, then I would highly recommend you to attend our free class, which covers most of the topics like why learn Docker and Kubernetes. And under Docker, you will be learning what is container and Docker, Docker architecture. And under Kubernetes, you will be learning what is Kubernetes, why to use it, Kubernetes architecture and pods, highly available and scalable applications, and many other topics. So if you are interested in attending this free class, you can visit k21academy.com/kubernetes02. You can also find the link in the description.